Current stage plan for the Transalp XL600V is going to be to get the bike down to where I can then essentially go into a full reassembly mode. I want to get both the wheels and tires off. I want to start getting the frame clean, fix rust spots, get the forks right, move on the bike, get everything down to where when I start rebuilding, the bike's in rebuild mode, and then I can go towards the test ride before then sharing a surprise that the watch is a bit of a hint about, but that's all I'm giving you for now. Long story short, I was looking for brake pads to fit this motorcycle, and while shopping I could only find brake pads for the 1990 Transalp, which is an identical twin. 89 and 90 were the only 2 years brought to America, so those two bikes are very identical. And I bought some brake pads, and the great news is that these Nissan pads actually fit. These are OEM pads, fit. I'm looking at the old pads I just took out of the front brake caliper. Downside, in what world would somebody only want one brake pad? Because that's what I got sent. Ordered Honda brake pads, 27 bucks. Took a week to come in from out of the country, and one brake pad. So that's no good, but I'm gonna keep tearing stuff down. Gonna have to order new brake pads for reassembly phase. Maybe the front wheel will be the last thing to go on. Hopefully I can have this bike done soon. What you're not seeing in the background is the stash of chemicals and parts and brake pad that I've been curating to get to the point where I can finally start making more and more progress on this bike and get it even further along. Possibly the part of this motorcycle I'm least excited to have to deal with is right here. That is a brake drum. Brake drums are kind of an ancient technology. Instead of using pads which squeeze the rotor, they are shoes that are kind of cup shaped that press against the outer hub to slow down the motorcycle. They're antiquated, they overheat. On an old dirt motorcycle like this, it's not necessarily the worst because you're not really using the brakes to stop as much as you are to stabilize. You know, you're using your engine braking for the rear wheels and using your front tires for the stopping. But if I ever want to take this motorcycle to the next level, which would include me taking it to deeper trails, maybe taking it to altitude, these drum brakes are one day gonna have to go, but for the time being, I've got to remind myself on how to even do a drum brake service because there are springs in there. It's not as easy as just popping out brake pads, so very not excited about it. I'm already in the world's hottest garage and I'm already hands deep in this. I want to go ahead and explain how brake shoes work. So inside of this wheel, I've got it flipped the wrong way. There is a tube, it's the housing for the brake shoe. And these are your brake shoes. So here are two springs. Those are the return springs to return it back to normal. And as you apply the brakes, there's a cam right here. And that cam twist, you can see it twisting back and forth. That's expanding the brake shoes. So what that does is as you press the brakes, which I'm doing by twisting here, that twists the cam and ultimately hinges off of this bolt to press these two against that outer wall, ultimately slowing down the tire. Another thing I forgot that is a massive con to these is the weight. When I took that wheel off and it had that hub still attached to it, whew, it was kind of unexpectedly heavy, especially coming from my Tenere 700, which I'm used to doing these tires. Man, they are heavy monsters. As an update for the Honda, I've currently got it pretty well taken down. I do want to do a brake maintenance, which I've already got the brake shoes out, as you see. I do need to order new brake calipers. I think I have all the parts to do this carburetor, so I might even do that while the wheels are off of it because I hate doing wheels and tires, so might as well save that for last. I did get the carburetor rebuild kit in. I do want to go through and degrease this thing, but I wanted to get it to a nice stopping point for tonight. Back in the gap, somebody definitely did something to sell this bike while the fairing was broken, and they kind of stitched it back together. And it's been one of those things that slightly bothered me. Check this out. I'll turn my headlamp on so you can see it. Let's turn that down a little bit. It's a bit too bright, but you can see it's like there's a rivet going through here. And then this is welded, like a bolt welded straight up with a rubber grommet to keep it from vibrating. Intelligent design. Maybe, you know, Honda should have stole it from factory, but definitely not going to pass here. So I've got to work out right now how to get that off. Just kind of an overall update on the bike while I'm looking at it. I'm going to eventually get to this carburetor rebuild, just taking my time getting to it. Want to slowly get the bike to where it's all the way down before I build it back up. Got to do that clean on it. I still want to spray this like foam cleaner on it, get it all wiped up. Start taking off the pieces that are covering this exhaust. There's a little bit where battery dripped and created a small rust stain on the swing arm. It's gonna be hard to do without messing up the factory stickers, which is gonna kind of hurt my soul. I do have both of the tires off, both of the wheels and tires off, just resting right now. I'm not gonna dive into necessarily doing the tires just yet. That'll probably be one of the last things on the list. I do wanna get this front fairing off eventually. I do probably have to take these forks off. It depends on the overall design of this Honda to replace these fork boots. Finding new replacement fork boots has been near impossible. I can find these universal ones, but the factory Honda ones are completely nowhere. So to replicate this look from factory, it's just kind of a minimal chance. Still need to do fluids as far as brake. There is a lot to do on this bike, but it's a lot of, you know, 5-day, 3-day jobs of coming in here after work. You know, I don't really have full days I can commit to this bike, but it will be getting done soon. Doing some cleanup on the motorcycle. You can see the degreasers is working really well, just to get these parts to where they're not looking completely horrible. I don't expect this bike to look showroom fresh, but look what I found. Let's see if I can get the lighting right on this. What it is an old dealer tag. So dealer reps will attach these to the keychain with the idea of it helps protect your tank from getting key scratches while also marketing a new product. This one is for the Honda V45 Magnum. The Honda Follow the Leader. Really cool old thing that I found while cleaning. There's this wiring harness right here up by the headlight, and as I was in there I just saw, you know, just kind of this red sticking out. I'm like, whoa, what am I messing up? What am I wiping, moving? And obviously something's not right. Pull it out and find this really cool piece of treasure. I know I look crazy right now, but I've got a really good example on why you should never trust how tires look, and you should really go off their age. So you can see this tire generally looks good. Look at the other one that came with the set. I haven't done anything on this one. I have manipulated this tire as I broke the teeth. But as I push on it, look at all the lines you can see. You can see them start to pop up on the tire. You can see all these kind of wrinkles. As I wipe the grease off of it, it's some dealership probably put on there to make them look new. What that leads to, those small cracks will grow, and with heat and pressure from the road as you lean on the tires or a big rock happens, what that's going to lead to is that deep valley grows from the pressure and eventually becomes a blowout. So despite these tires might look great, they're old. They just haven't been ridden yet for those cracks to become visible. I would have ridden on these tires, had a blowout, had a major catastrophe. Motorcycle tires are cheap enough. You really should replace them as often as possible. Day over. I've gotten the motorcycle just a little bit cleaner. I've started breaking down the tires, the old tires, to where I can start putting the new ones on. Tomorrow or next time working on the bike, I'm gonna work on the carburetor. I'm a little bit more out of breath than I'd like to be, but man, ADV tires on and off really do suck. Apologies for the long or the short video. There's a reason that the Tenere is not in here. The Honda's taking up more space, and you probably won't see me on the Tenere for a good minute. Update in the future once I'm able to talk more about it. But thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe. Have a great day.